Hi, this is Grover, LeetCode problem 8, a medium difficulty problem called string to integer. You were given a string input, and based on these 4 rules, you need to extract an integer if possible, otherwise return 0. The rules are you're ignoring leading white space, you need to capture the sign of the value with the use of a hyphen or a plus symbol. Omission of either symbol means it is automatically positive. And then you need to read the integer in a certain way, and it has to come up within that string a certain way. Otherwise, you would have to return 0, and then rounding. If the integer ends up being out of the 32-bit signed integer range, you are going to return the top, min, or max based on your positive or negative integer. And now the solution, the top voted solution here for Python, mentioned something called DFA, so I wish to include it here because it was new to me considering I don't have a formal education. So deterministic finite automation, and to dive over to Claude, my buddy discussed this at length. Here it is essentially a model by which you can solve certain problems with coding or programming languages. It's in the realms of you're defining finite sets of states, what determines how you transition to one state to the other, what is the initial state if there is one that needs to be accounted for, and then you would have certain executable lines of code based on which state you're in. And so their problem, they're claiming, utilized this concept. So we're going to dive over to VS Code now and go over their problem. So here they are declaring 4 variables in the beginning. You have the value, which is going to be returned. You have the state by which they are controlling how the code is going to be executed. Basically just their control flow path. And then you have the position, POS, the character that they're currently on or considering, and then you have the sign, which is a Boolean currently at true. So they're looping through each character, and then you're starting off in state 0, as that's the state it starts at. And essentially this state means you're either in the initial state or you're currently on white space. And so you continue in this state until either nothing is found, then you have to return 0, or you find either a plus or a negative, either a plus character or a hyphen, and then you change the state and then check for sign, or you find a digit right away, and then you change your state to 2, and you add that digit. And just note that this is just taking the current value, which let's say there's a 1 in there, and you want to add another 1 to make it 11. So you would just do value is 1 times 10 plus the next character. And it makes more sense as you're getting now further on. So if you have 11 in there and you want to make it 119, you would just do 11 times 10 plus 9. Okay? And so when you hit these other states, then it determines, like if you found a plus symbol and the next one isn't a digit, then you're going to return 0. Otherwise, if it is a digit, you're going to go to state 2 and keep adding those characters. And then here, as long as you're in state 2, you're just going to keep capturing digits. Otherwise, you're going to break out of the loop at the end, and then you're going to check to see if your value is within those 2 requirements, and then return your value. So I thought that was a pretty nifty way, kind of utilizing something that looks similar to a switch in other programming languages. Hope you enjoyed this and it was informative for you. Remember again, deterministic finite automation, something you may have learned in the days of yore. See you next time.